to all on this marvelous, beautiful Friday. You know, I just want to start this off by saying that, my channel is of appreciation. And I always want that to be implemented in every message that I express. All of my messages represent appreciation. And this is just another one of them. So before we even jump into this, I'm gonna let a few people come in. Um, you could join the panel if you want. The link is in the chat. And you know, black women, shout out to my mother, you know, they're so fashionable. When you just thinking about a black woman, just the concept of a black woman, a high-end black woman, no matter if it's African or African American or African Latino. You understand? Like it doesn't. I'm just talking about a high-end black woman. You know, they're very fashionable, and this is why I had to talk about this. I don't like to really talk about the average black woman because I feel like the average black woman, she goes through struggles, and then I also think that it's not a great representation of the black woman. I feel like the average black woman is not a great representation of black women. I will always say that because you know what it is. They have this notion like the sisterhood where average is good. I just don't. I don't. Just like even the average black man. I argue that is even debatable. I don't even feel like an average black man. I mean, but that's another segment. Anyway, I'm gonna save that. But going back to black women's fashion. Um, I've always been impressed since day one. I've always been highly impressed. I mean, highly impressed by, just the way poor black women, let alone high end black women. We just right now, let's just stick to the basics. Even just women in the ghetto, I was always interested and impressed by how they put things together, having only $400 or maybe $300, even sometimes even two or $100, you know, and it's always impressed me, just the way they could put certain things together, the colors, the whole fashion sense, and maneuvering, because with what you see, I'm from New York, and what you see in like black fashion in terms of just women, you see is so diverse. Like you can see a black woman from the hood dressed nerdy and fashionable, like it could be like a nerdy look, and then you could see, you know, a black woman from the hood with just a real like luxury kind of look, because you have women in the hood where they could be nerdy and geeky and still be highly attractive, still be highly fashionable. So the point that I'm bringing up to say that is that there's so many different levels of fashion, when it comes to black women. And to see nowadays where in 2022, you know, we just gonna keep it straight up. Black women don't really have fashion. We're gonna just put it straight on the table. Black women in 2022 don't have fashion. And we're talking about the black women that try to represent us. We're talking about the black women that um portrays, you know, the forefront of our community. And I hate to say names because then we'll, start going with that notion, just like if I had said Megan, you know, we would be going with the whole Megan notion. So that's why I hate to, say names. But on the flip side of that, I think it's highly, important that we understand what we're talking about today. Women in the 70s, women in the 60s, arguably women in the 80s were highly fashionable. They didn't need all these big names and, you know, all these diamonds and rhinestones. They didn't need all that. They didn't. They didn't need all that. And the reason, I got to implement that 2022 is so different, from 70s fashion is because I feel like with the fashion nowadays, anything goes. And this is why I had to really have this conversation. You know, when you look at the thumbnail, everybody take a second real quick. Everybody take a second real quick. Look at the picture, look at the thumbnail real quick of the video. Look at the picture on the video real quick. Just look at it. Take a quick second. Now, these are the women are so called, you know, the bitches in our culture that's moving shit. Basically have attention. Now, when I look at like a Ari, I'm gonna keep it 1,000. She's a sex object. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, and we gotta start talking like this more and more because I think that we have too many men that want sex so bad they're willing to, lie to a female and tell her, "Oh yeah, I could date you or I could take you serious." Moneybag Yo does not take you Ari serious at all. Just like when G Herbo was with her, these guys don't take these women serious. And if they did, these women would have been married. If these women, listen, this is why I don't let, all these, bad bitch talk go to my head. Because if all you bitches is bad, why no men want to marry y'all? Why no men stay with y'all? I'm being straight up. And this coincides with the whole fashion argument. Because these women spend all this money on fashion, all this money on makeup, just to get used for a weekend. This is why I always preach hoes ain't winning. Because men are not keeping y'all. The point of a relationship and the point of the interaction is for the man to keep you. If he don't keep you, what you got a meal out of it? You got a trip out of it? Whoop de do for you if you just out here fucking guys for trips. That's real talk. If you feel like a woman naturally out here is just pretty much selling her looks, you don't get no brownie points. Look. We're gonna make this a big notion in 2022. We're gonna start calling niggas weirdos that are excited or that get hyped about a woman catching bodies. I'm not gonna lie, women don't get no brownie points from me from that because even an ugly female could walk outside and get dick. Really? Like, because there's so many horny men. That's why I don't give women points off of that. I don't even say women have options. Like, say if a woman says, "Oh, well, if you look at my inbox, I have so many options." Da da da. You don't have those options because most of those men, if not all of those men, they're not marrying you. They're not willing to move you in the crib and take care of you. I'm not saying that a man has to move you in his house and take care of you, but those men are not willing to do that. I know those men will be willing to do that for other women, but it's not you. So this is the point. We want to be real strategic when we, talk about this whole fashion concept because people don't fully, take in that the way you present yourself means a lot. It means a whole lot. And the more that I see these women with these long nails, these skin tight dresses, these dresses be so tight nowadays and so like high. In my mind, I'd be like, is everything like has the prostitute look became like the just the look, the average look for women? Like, and to me, why it's so depressing? Because I find that a lot of these women ain't natural whores. They're not real hoes. They're not. They're trying to get something out the deal. I do agree to that. But I don't think most majority women nowadays are not natural whores. The culture that we live in, and it's so sad because I talk to so many women on a daily basis. Most women just want to be a hoe for that one man. But the way society is set up, it's set up for every woman to be a hoe to every man. Literally, a woman only supposed to be a hoe for her man. She should be so tired out and warped out for being a hoe for her man, she shouldn't even have time to think about another man. But the way society is set up now, a woman can go buy a $5 dress, which is no fashion, um, $5 sandals, which is no fashion really, um, some cheap ass sunglasses, do her hair up a tiny bit, keep it natural, or do whatever you want. She in the money. She's in the money. She probably can get your brother, your cousin, your uncle, all for no fashion. Because I just hear some of the OGs talk, and just me being, from the time that I was, women had to apply effort. That's real talk. Like they couldn't just throw on a dress and some sandals, a tight ass dress and some sandals, and be like, "Oh, my ass is out, and you got to pay for this." That's why a lot of men, in a sense, don't even stay with women because naturally, a man don't even feel like he's supposed to. Like, because men naturally know we're not supposed to be with hoes. So if we're grooming a society of women to be hoes, right? Or be hoe like, right? It's a natural instinct in a man to not deal with a whore. That's the point of finding a good woman or a wife. You feel like, okay, she moves a little different. She operates differently. There's plenty of whores out there if that's the case. Look, if we grooming a society for men just to deal with whores, it's plenty of whores out there. And that's the sad part. That's why I don't want a society of whores, because I feel like you will make a society of men where they don't have to even worry about dealing with a woman properly. You're gonna make a society of men that don't even know how to even deal with women. They're not gonna know how to communicate. They're not gonna know how to adjust to women. They're not gonna know how to make sex. I mean, how to make love to women. Because we live, I always tell people this. We live in a culture where it's just fuck, fuck, fuck. It's not no real. People don't even have real sex no more. Fucking is not sex. So we have came to a time where we need each other. A lot of black women are lonely and single, and this is due to our fashion. This is why this is a very remarkable conversation because our fashion has put us in a place where we don't want to be. Well, I see women literally on a daily have arguments with themselves because they know they're not supposed to be wearing or conducting themselves the way they are. But at the same time, they want the benefits. They want the benefits. And we have made a culture where women don't even think twice about taking money from a man they don't want to be with. That's the culture because of, women's independence. And I'm always scream that independence was the death. Feminism was the death of black women. Straight up. The moment we told you women, listen, uh, you can have say so, um, you can go live an independent life. You don't have to deal with men. That shit was straight poison. The moment it shouldn't even be a woman out there saying I don't need a man. What are you saying that for? When in all reality, you want a man. You deserve a man. And that's why I hate that whole kind of talk. Because I know deep down inside you want a man. You want to die alone? Really? Okay, go ahead, boring. I tell a person all day, if you want to die alone, go ahead. Just get out my face. Like, I don't want to sit there and look at a miserable person because you're not going to tell me you're happy dying alone. You're not happy. So please, get out my face. I'm not miserable. Get that away from me. I hate people that want to be miserable and then expect you to understand them or expect you to not even be miserable with them, but to feel sympathy for their miserable. I mean, what's the damn? I had it on tip of my tongue, but yeah, they want you to feel something for their sympathy. And I don't like to come down too hard on people, but I like to be realistic. I like to be realistic. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button, man. We about to really, really go a little deep right now because you know when we just talk about the concept of fashion, we understand that it changes. This is why I had to have this conversation. I fully respect and understand that fashion changes pretty much every year, if not every 6 months. It does. But we have made a lane for our black women, and I'm not even gonna say it's just black women's fault. That's why I really had to have this conversation because I'm not so quite caught. I'm not so quite sold on the fact that black women have done this all by themselves. I'm not sold on that. And that's why I really had to have this conversation. I'm not sold on the fact that white, I said white, I'm sorry, black men have no responsibility in black women's fashion. Because I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I think you niggas part of the problem. And this is no. Before we go deep, this is why I had to make this video. You niggas are the problem. And this is real talk. You men have become the problem. You know why? Let me break it down. You've become the problem because you want pussy. Let's just put it straight on the table. When the woman got their rights in the late 70s, right? It's been downhill from then. Why? Because the black man realized in life, oh, I have no attachments to you. There's no responsibilities with you. I could just give you your money and go. That's what created this trick culture. Men feeling like they are detached from women. Men feeling like they have no responsibility to an independent single woman. And this is why I really hate that whole concept of a woman being independent. You're independent to do what? For what? You're independent how? Like, think about that logically. You're independent how? When you still live in the world with a family, you have coworkers, you have a life. How are your independence of being an adult? You're supposed to be an adult. That, to me, yo, real talk, you niggas are the destruction of black women. And I'm gonna that's gonna be my next video. Men are the destruction of black women. The thought culture that we have right now, you think that's all women's fault? The thought culture that we have right now with the Megan Thee Stallions, your Nicki Minaj's, your Little Kims, your Foxy Browns, you think that's all just women's fault? You think women just came out of nowhere and said, we're going to be hoes, we're going to fucking suck the world off, and we're going to dress like hoes doing it? That's real talk. We got to, hold on. We got to really establish, some genuineness. That's real talk. And this is why I have these conversations, because I think a lot of people hide behind money and they hide behind clicks. And for me, I don't want no one to hide behind anything. I just want us to look at what is for what it is. Just like if we go outside, it's raining. You can clearly see it's raining. Can you look at the rain? You understand that it's water. Understand it is what it is. Don't try to go out there like you won't get wet. It's water. So black women are not the ones to fully blame. They do have blame. I will agree with that. I will never discount that. I think that we're all responsible in a sense. We all are, except for the kids, probably. I think the kids. I wouldn't equate the kids in this, but for the most part, all adults are siblings, grandparents, mentors, colleagues. Everybody's at fault, man and woman. So, like I said in the beginning of this, video, this is to really, show appreciation. You see, black man, why no other man is like you at this current moment? Because they don't value pussy. And I think that's something that, we have to express more and more, through the year. Old men that are against young men and black men not being able to control themselves. Shout out to Minister Jack for dick discipline. But that's real talk. We need dick discipline. And this is something that more men need to preach about. But I think black men, we so caught up in the notion that we may be the best looking man on the planet. Women may want us the most. Uh, we might have the best sex. Um, and the list goes on. But the point is, you don't want to live your life looking at things that way. And this is why this message is very important today because, with the whole fashion sense and how it changed so dramatically, I wish I could just, uh, I might do another lecture on that, but just women's fashions, women's fashion in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I gotta show you how this shit because when you look at women's fashion and you realize how much men wanted them and how much they were how yeah, how much they was wanted and married, you'll see the difference. You'll see why most women are not married today. You'll see why most men don't want women today. I'm not saying men are gay, but they just don't want these caliber of women. They just don't. And I hate the notion that um, women have all these options or women can have all these options. Women don't have a lot of options. Because with black men, first off, I mean with black women, first off, most other coaches, they don't marry y'all. And this is something that we need to start preaching out way more to women to save them, like time, stress. Most men out your culture are not going to marry you unless you're exceptional. That's real talk. Most men out your culture ain't going for it. And this is the conversation that we need to have more and more, especially with y'all fashion senses. Other men, they hide their whores. Black man is the only culture of man that represent whores, represent hoes. Other cultures, they don't represent hoes. They don't argue for hoes. You barely even see them with hoes. Even when them rich Indian niggas do what they do, they be behind closed doors. You think they be taking pictures with all these whores and uh all in their face, all in they Instagram and trying to get attention from their stop. These other coaches of men do what they do to handle their business with them, and then they out. There's no showcase. I'm not that excited that you're here. And this goes back to the whole fashion conversation. These women dress like fucking whores to excite men temporarily. Literally, the two women on my thumbnail, the two women on these pictures, when I look at them, I realize that we live in a time where women are just fun. And I do always suggest that men do look for marriage because I don't suggest that any man die alone. That's just my, presentation on things. If you want to die alone, you could. I just don't suggest it. I don't suggest no man die alone. But we're gonna do, a part two on this. I don't want to give too much out, but we're gonna do a part two on this. We just passed the 30-minute mark. Please hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. The Cash App is right here as well. Please support the family. You know, we're gonna definitely have to do a part two because the fashion in the 60s, 70s, and 80s was something to see. And men actually wanted these women. I think that's the biggest part. Men actually wanted the women of the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. They wanted to be with them. If a man doesn't marry you, you're a joke. Always remember that. Like, don't ever let some man, convince you that because you went on some trip with him, or you met his parents, or you know his colleagues. That shit means nothing. That he brought you a car, or that you know his colleagues, or that he's fucking you on the side. It means nothing. Like, share, subscribe, man. We about to be about of here, man. But realize, man, the message of the day is that, black men are really unsatisfied with black women's fashion because black women's fashion has turned into a strip show. Black women's fashion has turned into the strip club, aka the strip show. Real talk, when you see a lot of black women today, you naturally feel like something gonna pop out. Because things be so, first of all, black women, I'm gonna keep it 1,000. The way your bodies is built, all that tight shit, this is why I hate BBWs that wear like extremely tight shit. Your bodies is not built to wear tight things. I've always looked at that and always realized that, like, bro, stop trying to be these skinny bitches. You feel me? Like, it's not wrong with being a BBW. It's nothing wrong with it. But we have created a time where all women just think stripper mindset. Literally, you got BBWs 400 pounds dressing like a stripper or like a hoe, basically. And this is the problem that I had. This is why I really had to have this conversation. And this is the actual conclusion of this conversation. We live in a horrible. Even when you look at Megan Thee Stallion, real talk, she shouldn't even wear tight stuff. I'm gonna keep it 100. You're too thick. You're just too superly thick. Men just want to hit it. They ain't gonna tell you, oh, dress different or wear something appropriate. They don't care about that. You giving me some pussy? Okay, cool. Real talk. This is why I'm really highly upset at you niggas. You niggas took the pussy over the integrity. On that note, like, share, and subscribe, man. You niggas ain't no good to yourself, man.